Okay. In before lectures, we have seen how to overload the unary operator using a member function. Okay. We are overloading a unary operator. So as we know, there are two ways to overload the unary operator. First way is using member function, and second way is using friend function. So in previous lecture, we have seen how to overload the unary operator using the member function. We have seen one program, we have seen the syntax, how to call the operator function also. Okay, now we will see how to overload the unary operator using friend function. Okay, so here I'm going to write unary operator overloading using friend function. First of all, tell me what is a friend function? Yes, why we use a friend function? Hmm? Okay, so what is the friend function? As we know that we can define the member function of the class within a class itself or outside of the class itself. To access the data member of the class, the who can access the data member of the class? The only member function can access the data member of that class, right? But we need one such a function who has access to that data member of the class, but it is not a member of the class. ओके, आपल्याला एक असं फंक्शन बनवावं लागेल की जे आउटसाइडेड फंक्शन आहे आणि त्याला आपल्याला डेटा मेंबर्सला जर ऍक्सेस करायचं असेल, डेटा मेंबर ऑफ द क्लास, देन हाऊ ही कॅन ऍक्सेस द क्लास? Then we have to make that outsided function as a friend to that class, so that we can access the data member of that class using the friend function. Okay, so now suppose we have to overload the unary operator. Unary operator means what? The operator which contains only single operand, then that operator is said to be a unary operator. Fine. So we can overload this unary operator using friend function also. So in previous lecture we have seen that suppose we have to overload the unary operator using member function, then we are not providing any argument to the function because it is a member function, so that he can access their data members directly. But in this case, in friend function or the outside function cannot have the access to the data members, private data member of the class. So we need to provide the operand to the friend function. So the one argument is required in case when we have to overload the unary operator using friend function. There is one argument is required, and that argument or that operand is provided by the user. Means we are providing the argument or we are providing the operand to the function, friend function, because it is not a member function, so he can't directly access the data member of the class. So for that reason we have to provide the operand or we have to provide the argument to that friend function. So in this case, the friend function requires one argument. Okay, or this operator function requires one argument. Okay, so in this method the unary operator is overloaded using friend function. In this case the required one operand is provided by the user, and due to this reason, the operator function requires one argument. Since friend function is involved, the argument must be of class type, because we need to pass the argument which is of class type, means we need to pass the object of the class as an argument. Always remember, there is a difference between member function and the friend function. As we know that member function has right to access the private data members directly, but friend function does not have right to access the private data members. Since we have to pass one argument to the friend function, and that one argument is of class type. Class type means what? That one argument must be an object. Okay, so now we will see the syntax so that you can understand. So the syntax for overloading the unary operator using friend function. So firstly, you should write the class keyword, then class name, curly braces. Here we can define a data members of the class which has a private access specifier. Then next one is under public access specifier. I can define a member function, or I can define the friend function also. So as we know that friend function, we can define a friend function which is start with the friend keyword, and this friend keyword is always used in declaration of the function. We are not using the friend keyword in definition of the function. ओके, फ्रेंड कीवर्ड हे फक्त डिक्लेरेशन मध्ये येणार, फंक्शन डिक्लेरेशन मध्ये. डेफिनेशन मध्ये फ्रेंड कीवर्ड येणार नाही. ओके, सो फर्स्टली वी हैव टू यूज अ फ्रेंड कीवर्ड, then return type of the function. Return type of the function is any data type among the integer, float, double, character, void. Okay, then next one is, as we have to define the operator function, so we have to use operator keyword, then operator symbol, operator symbol. And as we know that this is a friend function, means he cannot access the private data members of the class directly, so we have to pass one argument, and with that argument is of type class. So here is class name and semicolon. This is the prototype of the friend function. Prototype means what? Declaration of the function, because here I am ending this declaration with semicolon. So this is just a declaration. We are not going to define this function in class. So here I'm defining this function outside of the class without friend keyword. So here is return type of the function, operator keyword, operator symbol, and class name, because we are creating object with class name also. So here obj is my object of the class, and we can include some statement within this operator function. As we know that this friend function is not a member function of the class, so to define this friend function outside of the class, there is no need of using a scope resolution operator. हा जो फ्रेंड फंक्शन आहे तो या क्लासचा मेंबर फंक्शन नाही आहे, त्याच्यामुळे जर त्या फ्रेंड फंक्शनला आपल्याला आउटसाइड क्लास डिफाईन करायचा असेल तर आपल्याला स्कोप रेझोल्युशन ऑपरेटरचा यूज करायची गरज नाही. स्कोप रेझोल्युशन ऑपरेटर कधी यूज करतात? सपोज वी वॉन्ट टू डिफाईन the member function of the class outside, then we can use a scope resolution operator, right? So this is the friend function which is not a member function of the class, so there is no need to use a scope resolution operator. Okay, so this is the syntax for defining the friend function. So here operator is the keyword, operator symbol is the any symbol. Suppose I want to overload the unary operator plus plus, then I can use the symbol plus plus over here. You can create object of the class and you have to pass that object as an argument to the friend function, because he can't directly access the private data members of the class, so we need to pass the object as an argument to this friend function. Fine. So in this way we can define the friend operator function. Next one is how to call the friend function. Suppose I need to call this friend operator function. Calling operator function. Suppose I want to call this operator function from the void main function, then what should be the syntax? As we know that this is not a member function, this friend function is not a member function, so we can call this friend function directly without using object, because it is not a member function. We can call the member function only using object, so there is no need to create an object for calling the friend function. Okay, so we can directly call this friend function. Firstly, operator keyword, then operator symbol, and we need to pass object to this friend function as an argument. So here I'm passing object to this friend function. Okay, so in this way you can call this operator friend function directly without using object, but you need to pass object as an argument to this friend function. Okay, so operator keyword, operator symbol, and you have to pass the object. So in this case, in this way we can overload the unary operator using friend function. Okay, just only remember the difference between using member function and using friend function. In case of member function, there is no need of passing argument when using member function. Okay, but if we are overloading the unary operator using friend function, then we need to pass object as an argument to this friend function. Okay, just only the difference between these two. Now we will see one program so that you can understand. So new file. This is a program for unary operator overloading using friend function. Okay, so this is a unary operator overloading friend function. So I'm overloading the unary operator plus plus, which is an increment operator. Okay, and this operator increments the value of an operand by 1. So firstly include all the header files, hash include iostream.h, then hash include conio.h. Then next one is I'm defining class. Suppose my class name is num, curly bracket open, curly bracket close. Okay, I need main function also, so void main. Here I'm defining the main function. Then in this class I'm declaring a data members integer n1. So n1 is a data member of class num and who has a private access specifier. Default access specifier is the private access specifier. So under public access specifier, I am defining one member function of this class for taking the input value from the user. So it will take the value from the user. Here I am defining this member function over here. So it will ask the user to enter the value for n1. Enter value for n1. So it will ask the user to enter the value for n1, and that value is stored in n1 variable. Similarly, I can also define one member function for displaying the value for n1. So under this, I can print the value of n1. So n1 is equal to, it will display the value of n1. Okay. Now again, I'm declaring one friend function, which is not a member function of the class num. So here I'm using a friend keyword. Friend keyword, then return type of the function. Suppose my return type is void, then I can use operator keyword, operator, then you can use operator symbol. I need to overload the plus plus operator, so therefore my symbol is plus plus, and here you need to pass object as an argument. So object type is always a class name, so my class name should be num. So num. Okay, here is I'm just declaring the friend function. I need to define this friend function outside of the class. So how to define this friend function outside of the class without using friend keyword? So its return type is void, then operator keyword, operator symbol is plus plus, class name is num because we need to pass object. So here my object is o1, for example. Okay, here I'm passing object to this operator function, and that pass object is stored in o1 object. Okay, now I can increment the value of n1 which is come under the o1 object. मला n1 ची व्हॅल्यू इन्क्रिमेंट करायची आहे because plus plus has a meaning to increment the value of operand by 1. So I need to increment the value of n1 which is come under the o1 object by 1. Okay, so I will increment the value of n1 which is in o1 object. So o1 dot n1 which is equal to o1 dot n1 plus 1. So here I am incrementing the value of n1 which is come under the o1 object by 1. Fine. So in this way I will increment the value of n1. Now next, clear screen. I am creating object of class num. So obj is my object of class num. So using this object, I can call the input function, which is a member function of the class. So using this again object, I can call the display function, which is again a member of the class. But I can call the operator function, which is a friend function, which is not a member of the class. So I can call this operator function directly. Firstly, we have to write the operator keyword, then operator symbols are plus plus, and here I'm passing object as an argument. So my object is obj, so here I'm passing the object obj to this function, and after execution of this operator function I need to check whether it will increment the value of n1 by 1 or not. So again I'm calling display function so that I can understand whether that value of n1 is incremented by 1 or not. So here I am again calling this display function, and after that the end of the program. Okay, so in this way you can overload the unary function, unary operator plus plus using friend function. Okay, so firstly save this program. So here I am overloading unary operator using friend function dot cpp. So firstly compile the program. whether it will find some errors. No, zero errors. Then run. It will ask the value for n1. Suppose I'm entering a value for n1 as a 4. So firstly, it will accept the value for n1 as a 4, and again it will display the 4. Why it will not incremented the value? Oh, it is a local value, no? That's why. So I think here I'm going to display the value also. So cout slash n1 after increment. After increment, because o1 is the local variable, that's why. And here I'm going to print the value of n1 which is come under the o1 object. So here there is no need to call display function. Now save this program, compile this program, run. It will ask the value. Suppose I'm entering a value as a 4, then it will print the value of 4 before increment, which is equal to n1 is equal to 4, and after calling the operator function, it will display the value of n1 which is equal to 5. Okay, so in this way you can overload the plus plus unary operator using friend function. Are you getting why I'm going to print value of n1 over here? Because o1 is the local object, means its lifetime is in between this function only. After this function it will get destroyed because it is a local object. Its lifetime is in between this function. So there is no existence of o1 outside of this function. o1 चा existence नसणार आहे बाहेर फंक्शनच्या बाहेर, बिकॉज इट इज अ लोकल ऑब्जेक्ट. त्याचं लाईफ हे फक्त फंक्शन पुरतच असणार आहे. फंक्शनमध्येच तो व्हॅलिड असेल, त्यामुळे फंक्शनमध्येच आपण इथे त्याला काय केलं आहे, प्रिंट केलेलं आहे. फाईन. So in this way you can overload the unary operator using friend function. So how this execution takes place? Firstly, execution, we know that execution is always starts from main. So it will execute the clear screen. Then after that it will create an object, and using this object he can call the input function. So control goes to the input function. It will execute this, it will print the string which is enclosed in double quotes, enter value for n1. It will print the string on the screen. Then after that it will execute the cin n1 statement. So it will ask the user to enter the value. Suppose here I am entering a value as a 7. Then after that again control goes to the main function and it will execute the next statement after the input. So it will call the display function. Then after that control goes to the display function. It will execute n1 is equal to, it will print the value of n1 on the screen. So it will display the value on the screen. Then after that, after displaying the value of n1, it will call the operator function. So operator function, then control goes to the operator function. It will execute, or it will increment the value of n1 by 1, which comes under the o1 object. Then after that it will print the value of n1 over here only. Then after that it will print the value of n1. Then after that there is an end of this program. Then you can see the value of n1 before increment and after increment. Okay, so in this way you can overload the function using friend function. Are you getting any doubt, anyone? If you have any doubt you can ask me. Yes?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So in this way, we can overload the operator function using friend keyword. So this is all about the unary operator overloading using both the methods, using member function as well as friend function. Now our next topic, okay, before starting the binary operator overloading, I need to mention one point. Suppose we have to write the operator function with return value. Means our operator function is returning some value, or it will return the object. Then what should be the syntax and how to call this operator function which is with return, means operator function with return. Under same topic, suppose my operator function is with return. With return means our operator function is returning some value. Then what should be the syntax and how to call that operator function? The syntax is same as before we are defining. Okay, I'm just copying the syntax and pasted it over here. Then the syntax should be the same, but just we need to mention its return type as a class name. Here I'm returning object of the class, so my return type should be the class name. Here also my return type should be the class name because it will return the object, and we know that object's type is always a class name. So it will return the class name, and here at the last it will use return keyword and it will return the object obj, this object. It will return the object so that its data type is class name. So here its return type is also a class name because it is returning an object. Similarly, how to call this operator function? Calling operator function. How to call this operator function? As we know that the function is returning an object, that object is stored in again an another object. जर आपण इथून ऑब्जेक्ट रिटर्न करत आहे तर तो ऑब्जेक्ट स्टोअर करण्यासाठी वी नीड अगेन वन मोर ऑब्जेक्ट. सो here I'm again creating other object 2, which is equal to operator keyword plus plus symbol, sorry, not plus plus, here is operator symbol, operator symbol, and we need to pass object 1. Okay, so in this way you can call this operator function which is returning value or returning an object. So that object is again stored into the another object, so we need to create a one more object for storing the returning object. So in this way we can call the operator function. Okay, so I will modify that program. So same program I can modify with return. This is my program. Oops. this is without return. I'm returning a value now in this program. So my return type should be the class name, and my class name is num. Here is also my return type should be the class name, and my class name is name num. And as instead of printing the value of object over here, I'm returning this object to the main function. So I'm returning object o1 to the main function. As it this object is written to the main function, we need one more object to store that returning object o1. So here I'm again creating one more object obj2. So that obj2 is equal to, how to call this function, obj2 is equal to operator keyword plus plus keyword, and I'm passing the previous object obj for that function. Now here I'm going to print the value of obj2, or I can call the display function using obj2 value. So obj2 dot display, so it will display the value of n1 which is come under the object 2 on the screen. Okay, so in this way we can use, or we can write operator function with return value. So here is return type must be the object. So save this program first of all, compile, zero errors, run. So it will ask you the value for the n1. Suppose I am entering a value as a 5. So it will display the value of n1 before increment and after increment. So before increment the value should be the 5, and after increment the value will be the 6, because it will add the value of 5 by 1 which is equal to 6. So in this way you can overload the unary operator, or you can write the operator function with return value. Fine. Any doubt, anyone? Okay, so this is all about the unary operator overloading. Now next we can overload the binary operator. Next point is we can overload the binary operator. The next topic is binary operator overloading. So similarly, we can overload the unary operator. We can also overload the binary operator using two ways. As we can overload the unary operator using member function, similarly using different function. Similarly, we can overload the binary operator again using two ways, using member function and again using friend function also. So there are two ways to overload the binary operator, using member function and using friend function. So we will see first one using member function. So we can overload the binary operator using member function. So we will see the first way or first type. Okay. So in this method, the binary operator is overloaded using a member function of the class. Okay. So since binary operator is used, so we know that for binary operator, two operands are required. So in this case, One operand is provided by the system using the calling object, and another operand is provided by the user. Okay. So in case of binary operator overloading, we have to provide two operands for the function, operator function. One operand is provided by the system and the one operand is provided by the user. So we require two operands.